you and the IPL is a story that in many ways was just meant to be. And you and Hyderabad, in particular, it's my hometown, David. I grew up there. I did school, college there, speak the language. So when you came to Hyderabad, I know I was Mumbai, but it still meant a lot. We'll tell this story through pictures, and there's this wonderful picture of you with the ground staff. Not just with colleagues. There's lots of pictures of you with colleagues, and we're going to talk about that. But you with the ground staff. And I just thought after all that happened in 2018, for you to come back in 2019 and to be accepted like that, in many ways it was the story of the IPL.
Yeah, look, for me, we don't give enough credit to the people behind the scenes. And I think you look at the ground staff that we have at Hyderabad, they work tirelessly to get it always prepared and ready. And the thing that really hit me was when they really worked hard to try and get us on against India in a 2020 series where they had a torrential downpour, and unfortunately we just couldn't get on. It was heartbreaking for not the fans, but not just the fans, but the ground staff who worked really, really hard those 3 days leading into that game, and they always got a smile on their face. That's what makes my heart melt. You know, I absolutely love the staff. They do everything they can to produce the best wicket possible, and the good thing about them is they have so much respect, not just for us, but for every single person. And, you know, if they want to come up and ask for a photo, they're always very polite, always, you know, I always welcome them to ask. You know, I'm never going to say no, neither are the guys, but they're very, very, very well mannered and very polite. You know, I love them.
David, that whole process of coming back in 2019, you had great IPLs in 15, 16, 17, you were leading run scorer twice, you made 800 runs one year, and then coming back in 19, was there a fear somewhere? How will I be accepted? Will it still be the same coming back? Is Cricbuzz captain now? Will it be the same? Was there any apprehension on your part when you were on your way to Hyderabad?
There was no apprehension. It was about myself thinking, am I going to be able to still play at that level? Because you're not playing at that level for a year. It has its challenges, and if you're not facing 145 kilometers an hour every day in the nets like I do, there's got to be some challenges. There's got to be some bit of, thoughts in the back of your head. Am I able to do this? There's going to be doubts. But once I got back into the rhythm of training and back into the team environment, it was literally like I hadn't left. And the guys made me so welcome. Obviously, Tom Moody, VVS, and Murali, and obviously Kane as captain. It was just great that I was welcomed back, and obviously with the Sunrisers family and the owners, they were absolutely amazing, and I can't thank them enough.
What has the IPL meant to you? I mean, you were quite an unknown when you first came in, and there you are at the Delhi Daredevils, as it was called then. You had a couple of good years for them. You're obviously identified with the Sunrisers, but that must have been something. Just out of the blue, there's this young man who smacks the ball, hasn't played first-class cricket, but gee, smacks the ball, and the Devils took a punt on you, didn't they?
Yeah, it was like a dream. Like, you know, I woke up and I was in Delhi and I was opening the batting with, you know, Virender Sehwag. It was just very, very surreal. And you know, and I've been quoted before saying this, that, you know, Sehwag said to me I'll be a better Test cricketer than 2020 cricket, and I hadn't played any first-class cricket, and I could not stop laughing. I was like, this guy's off for the fairies. And you know, from there to actually get a game for Delhi with the team that we had, I was shocked, and I was forever so grateful for that. Greg Shippett was coach, so he obviously knew and seen me growing up and knew what I was capable of. But yeah, look, I was absolutely grateful for that opportunity. But to play there on a very difficult wicket, I think it's probably one of the hardest wickets to bat on. It doesn't really bounce, but it can turn, it can be slow. Some days it might have a little bit of skiddiness to it. But going from there to Hyderabad was like, you know, batting on like a nightmare, going onto an absolute road, and always very well prepared wicket. And you know, as a batsman, yeah, we love about the batter's paradise. We're a bit greedy in that sense, but I think the whole of Hyderabad how I was received and how I was welcomed was absolutely fantastic. And I'm just grateful for obviously Tom Moody, who obviously picked me up in the auction with obviously VVS and Murali and the owners. So from there, it was about trying to establish myself in the IPL. You've obviously always got a little doubt in your mind, am I going to be able to go toe for toe with the best cricketers in the world? And only 4 international players can play. So it's very difficult. And that means 1 batsman, maybe 2 batsmen maximum. So, and then comes with all that is the pressure. So if you're on, a lot of money and you go out there and you're going, if I fail, I'm never going to get picked up again. So you've got all these things that go through your mind. And for us as international cricket players, at that stage, I was like, I'm just going to go out there with a clear mind, as I always do, and just back myself and do what I have to do to get the team off to a good start. And that's all I always trying to set out to do.
Is there pressure as an overseas player? Are you almost like this expensive football player going to United? That you're this expensive player. I mean, did you think, gee, this is a bit like Ronaldo at United?
Yeah, look, I feel that us as international players have a lot more to do than just play the game there. We're there to educate as well, because there's obviously a lot of young guys that are playing and coming through the ranks, so you get an opportunity who are picked up with the franchises. So I feel that we've got a lot of responsibility, not just on the field, but off the field, to help grow not just international cricket, but Indian cricket as well. And I think a lot of the young guys are learning. Even I'm learning still from a lot of the young guys and other international players. You see, I'm playing with Kane Williamson. I'm playing, I played with AB de Villiers, and I'm obviously playing with Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. You get an insight to how these guys would play and bowl or defend to different opposition that you play with as well. So the knowledge is being thrown out there. So today's game is harder because everyone knows you inside out.
Does the money put pressure on players? Saying, paying me a lot of money, I better deliver. I mean, one is of course a great opportunity. You're playing alongside everybody, but is the money a bit of a pressure?
Look, for myself personally, I can speak for myself only that it doesn't faze me. For me, it's about going out there and giving my best, as I always do. I always see, the financial gains are a reward for how well you do. But if you do well as a team, then everyone gets rewarded. And that's the best thing about playing the sport. The greatest teams in the world, you look at Manchester United, they're not just based on one, they didn't win that many titles based on the coach, based on, one player. They had a team, and a team delivers. And everyone else, gets rewarded from that. And that's the beauty of our game of cricket.
You've often talked about the buzz being at the IPL, and then you obviously enjoyed it. You 3 times. No one's won that orange cap 3 times. What was it like to be captain? I mean, obviously you want to be captain of Australia, and maybe yes, maybe no. What was it like to come to a new city, be accepted enough? You probably didn't know Hyderabad when you were growing up. You probably didn't know where it was on the map. And then almost like a second home, to come there, be accepted, be captain. What was that like?
Yeah, look, it really meant a lot to be asked to captain, and you don't turn those offers down, and they don't come around too often. And for me, it was about, I knew the team so well. We all gelled well together. We knew each other's game plans. And I think the best thing about our team we know how to scrap very well. And I always talk about this. People say, what's your favourite game? Can you tell us the favourite game that you played in? I love the games where, we've only made 130 or 120 odd, and our bowlers go out there and defend, because that there, or you're chasing big totals, that there, it shows a lot of character in your team. You have belief that you can actually win those tight games. And that year that we won in 2016, I reckon we had 4 or 5 games that went down to the last over.
There was something else that happened in 2019, which is the second photograph I want to present to you. And that was an opening partnership that lit up the IPL. But what made it even more dramatic was, here was a tough, hard-talking, taking of prisoners Aussie up against an Englishman who it probably loved to come up against. I don't know if love to hate is too strong a word, but love to come up against. And there are the two of you your glove pumping, you're high-fiving. It's almost like both of you grew up in Yorkshire, both of you grew up in Sydney.
Well, it was actually really, really bizarre because me and Johnny had never played with each other. We've only played against each other, and we didn't really know each other off the field. We didn't really have many, chances to actually, go out for dinner or anything, or catch up outside because I didn't really know him. But as soon as we had the first net session or the first hit out, it was almost like we knew each other's games so well. The best thing about our combination that I knew deep down was how fast we are between wickets. And we just knew if we bat the way that we did in the first 6, how we normally do, and then once the field goes out, we can pinch the odd 1 or 2. If we can rotate strike, it's going to frustrate a lot of people. And I look back at that RCB game and I think we hit 21 or 22 twos, and it was frustrating the crap out of Virat. And then Virat went out to field at mid-wicket and we were running twos to him. But the thing is that when you got that instinct, anyone can do that. Anyone, when you're batting so well with someone and gel well, you can turn ones into twos quite easily.
Was there almost a fear of what you were getting into, especially maybe someone like Johnny, because you might have come hard at him in an earlier game, and he's saying, I've never been here before. Did you have to break the ice a little bit? Did it just happen that you got out of that and it just happened?
I think when you play against guys and you obviously don't have that friendship off the field because you haven't had that chance to hang out, you almost, as adults, you take that away from the on-field stuff. Like you're now teammates, so you have to let that go. Whatever's happened on the field, if you've given each other banter, that's what it is, and that goes for everyone that you play against. I remember when I think Boogie was bowling at me, and I kept on just laughing at him and looking at him and like, what? That's just what you do. That's how I get into a contest, and that's what I love about the game. We're now teammates for 8 weeks of the year, and then when we come up against each other in an Ashes or a one-day game, a 2020 game, you're not mates for that part when you're on the field.
I was with him on a Sky Sports podcast recently, and he talked about what I'm asking you about. He talked about it from his perspective, and he said, I hadn't realized, because I only looked upon him as a competitor, that he could be a nice guy too. And does that happen with England and Australia sometimes, that you almost don't allow yourself to believe that the other guy outside the competition could be like you?
Yeah, it's definitely, you almost love to hate. Like it's one of those things where you go, I don't want to be friends with this person because we're just against each other. But today's society, like in today's environment with IPL and all these franchises, there's going to be a place and a time where you're going to be potentially playing with these people, and you don't really have that time anymore to not be friends. Like you have to be mates away from the game. That's just how it is, and I think everyone themselves knows if they're a decent person or not. But you got to go out of your way to understand that relationship first, and get to know that person, because you don't know that person when you come up against them and they're playing for a different team. But when you walk out there and you're representing your country, that goes out the window. It's more of a, all right, we're mates off the field, but this is how we're going to play, and that's how it is. And I think that's one thing that it stands out with Virat, especially. You see the passion that he has on the field, and we love that. But you're always going to get in a contest with him, and that's the beauty of the game.
Now, Australia versus England is one rivalry. We talked about even Jonny Bairstow, Australia, England. Australia, New Zealand has had its moments too, hasn't it? And then there you are at Sunrisers. You're not there in 2018 when Williamson becomes captain. He does a fantastic job at Sunrisers. 2019 is there now. IPL 2020 is going to happen. Maybe you're going to be captain. You are going to be captain again. How's your relationship with Williamson? Because in a sense, you're competing, but you're together. One's Kiwi, one's Aussie.
Yeah, look, our friendship and relationship is very, very good. You know, he's obviously a very humble guy. He's pretty quiet. You know, we spend a lot of time together when we're at the IPL, and you know, I actually had a phone call with him, a good conversation with him when he was going to take over as captain. But the hardest thing for him is when you're captaining all three forms for your country, then you go to the IPL. The last thing you want to do is probably captain. You want to relax. You want to play the game and see how it is. And I think England did it well with Joe Root and Morgan being captain of the one days. You see those guys sort of relax a little bit and they just play cricket. And I think that's where we had that relationship. Like last year, even Boovy was captain. It was good of Tom and them to come and speak to me and just say, you go out there and just play. There's no pressure. Just go out and play the way that you do, and do the best for the team possible. And it was really relaxing and really enjoying. I really enjoyed it. And then, you know, when Kane or Boovy needed some help, I offered my advice, and I never went out over and above to step on their toes or anything like that. And that's the respect that we all have for each other.
There was a time, 13, 14, 15, 16, David Warner had the reputation of being maybe a little temperamental, maybe a little difficult. The guy who turned up to Sunrisers was completely different. I asked Tom a couple of times, I said, Tom, what do you do to David at Sunrisers? Because he comes there, he's a generous captain, he's alongside everybody. He's almost too good to be true. And that is so contrary to the image that he had, if I dare say that, when he was playing Australia. What was that about? Were there two Warners for a while?
Yeah, look, I think you have the young, naive, going about the business how you only think you know and the way that you only see things. And then there's a bit of maturity and growing up to do where you see yourself as the player, but then you're representing the much more than just yourself. And I think that period and that year of my life was one of those things where I just went out and I probably took it for granted of where I was and what I achieved. Maybe I felt comfortable at that time and was happy and content. But to be given that opportunity with Tom and play at Sunrisers and given responsibility, we all know as individuals, if we're given a little bit of responsibility, we grow even more. And I think that's probably what's happened in my life. I think when I've been given responsibility, or, you know, and it's not saying that I need that to be mature. It's just more that it's what turned me around. Obviously, you know, falling in love with my wife, that was a big one. And I'm not being rude, but I never used to listen to many people except pretty much my parents. But when Candace came into my life, and you know, as an athlete herself, was just like, why would you drink a day before a game? Why would you contemplate staying, you know, awake after midnight? Or why would you not train today? Like there was no rest for her. There was no alcohol, anything that ever hindered her sport. She was just like, yeah, you're not an athlete. How can you do that? And it's, you know, up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go and train. I was like, we don't play cricket at 5 a.m. We play cricket at 8 o'clock at night. Why would I get up at 5 a.m.? But the beauty of it was she was teaching me was discipline. And I think that's what was missing from my youth coming through the cricket system was the discipline side of things. And from there, I got up at 4:30. I trained. I did it, for at least 10 weeks, and completely changed me. And I saw cricket and I saw my life in a different perspective, and it just grew and grew and grew. And yeah, I haven't looked back since.
Was that 2013?
That was 2013, yes.
I'm so happy you remember. I'm so happy you remember, because if she watched this program and he said, yeah, maybe 2013, it wouldn't go down well.
Yeah, no, that's exactly when it was.
Because, I mean, most people associate 2013 with the Root incident, but what happened after 2013 was, at that point, I think you made 16 of your 2100s after 2013. It just led to a phase where the runs were coming like you were manufacturing them for a while.
Yeah, it was for for looking back then, I think it was more of a point to prove and to show myself, hey, you've got a lot more talent. Now let's use it. You know, use your talent. Don't waste it. There's a lot of people out there I know growing up that have played cricket with me that I've just gone, wow, they're better than me. And, you know, I've got the talent, but how can I use that talent? And I think then I was like, all right, I'm open to batting for my country. This is your last chance. So go out there, give it all, and see what you're capable of. And yeah, I really didn't look back. I think I look back at the moment with this Ashes series. It's probably the first time I was in a really, really lean patch. And I'd never been in one. And that's where I was like, you know, is there a bit of pressure? I don't know if it's pressure. It was more, one guy is bowling out of his skin, the best he's ever bowled. You look at his stats that year, he pitched the ball up a lot more than he had previous years. He worked me over, simple as that. And I didn't really have an answer because he was beating me both sides of the bat. And once someone does that, you almost don't know where to put your bat. You almost put your front pad out there and say, hey, blow my front pad off.
It's interesting because when Broad started bowling Fuller, he said it came out of meetings with the analysts who said, look, when you bowl this length, you have this kind of result. Do players at your level to whom the game comes relatively easier compared to some others who play with whose instinct is so sharp? What does the analyst mean to you? What does data mean?
I think the game's evolved where, you know, we specifically use it in 2020 cricket with matchups. I think the World Cup, Jason Behrendorff against England, we took the gamble of opening with two left-arm bowlers because we knew they were susceptible. So these data, you've got to actually use them. You know, it's good to have the numbers and then go back and go, oh, look, see, this is what we should have done. You know, and if you don't try that and apply it, you know, you will never know. And it's a waste of, you know, a waste of time and effort for these people to do that. The stats packs that they bring out is incredible. You know, there's going to be a few things where, you know, when you're batting or bowling first, second, that etc., everyone knows. But matchups with players versus bowlers in specific environments, different grounds, it's a massive edge. And I always encourage players to go and look at that and be honest with yourself, because there's players that, you know, aren't good against certain bowlers in certain countries. I've had success against Ashwin, but in India, he's got such great variation that, you know, do I have to watch the ball harder? I'm probably going to have to watch the ball harder, because you get the footage where he undercuts the ball, goes over top of the ball, but you can't see that. Only in slow-mo you can see that, but out of the hand, it's very hard to pick up. So these stat packs that they send through to you, you can almost work on, all right, is it in line? Where's it coming? Where's it pitching in line? If he bowls a undercut, is it outside off stump? Is it back of a length so it skids on? These are little things that they can give you that you can analyze yourself and use it to your advantage, or you just go, no, I'll just work it out. And that's where you have these sort of key matchups in different forms of the game, and we're seeing it in Test cricket now.
How much is too much, David? Can it almost start to overpower your instinct if you get too much data?
Yeah, you don't want to dwell on it too much. I think if you get out the same way often, I think then you need to look at it. You have to look at it. There's something technical or there's something missing. I know for myself, this year in the Australian summer, all I concentrated on was almost like playing a spinner, getting forward, bat and pad closer together, and defending straight back at the bowler. And that allowed me to leave those good balls and then really get a big stride in and cover it and hit the middle of the bat. And that's all I concentrated on. And it worked. Did I need to do that in England? I tried a lot of different things in England. It just wasn't my time. And I look back then and go, oh, well, so be it. That's 10 innings out of, I know 150 that I've had, I think it is. You know, that's what can you do? Can't do anything about it.
Tell me, you won a World Cup. You've obviously winning the Ashes is great for an Aussie. How big was that 2016 triumph? You're captain. You've scored so many runs. You've literally taken your team along. There are a lot of good players around you too. but you took the team along. How big was that for you personally? The day you finish your career, how will you look back? Where will that be in your life?
Oh, it'll be very, very special. Look, to captain and lead a team to a trophy, sits up there with anything, and I'll cherish that moment forever. And just those memories of the doubts as well when we won the toss and I elected to bat first. There's a lot of people's heads going like this, and I was like, at the end of the day, our strength was defending. That was our strength. Why would we change our game plan to try and beat these guys by chasing when we didn't chase well at all the whole season? And they're things that satisfy me most because I back the ability of our team. I had a good conversation with Kane Williamson and Moses and Boovy around that. I spoke to Tom and I said, you have to trust us as players out there. This is what we're better at and what we're good at. The only way to beat these guys is by your strength. Taking on their strength was going to be difficult. But sitting there at, I think, 1 for 140 off 10, I was nervous. I was very nervous. But the satisfying thing was that we delivered. And as I said, that's definitely up there with a World Cup and an Ashes 100%.
I've enjoyed doing this, seeing a side to you that's very chatty, that's a very deep love of the game. That was really fantastic. Love to the family, and look forward to seeing you in Hyderabad one day.
No problem at all, Harsha. I love talking cricket. I could talk it all day.
Pleasure. Thanks a lot, David. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks, guys. See ya. Bye.